Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to Her Voice podcast with the Inspire Her Network. Happy Juneteenth to you as well. We are so excited that you are here with us during our final episode of season 2. And we're certainly going to mix it up. So you are so used to hearing the women on the cast, but we will have a little deeper tone on the episode this time around. We're going to welcome in some masculine energy. How important is that to our village? As it is important that we seek their perspective, their insight, their experiences, as it helps us to grow as well. I'm Coach Ivy, your host, your favorite mompreneur, author, master coach, and inspirational speaker. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our phenomenal co-host, our cast, starting with Davita.
Hello, everybody. I am Davita Foushee, and as always, stay prayed up every day.
Hey, everybody, it's Melonie, and y'all know he ain't through with me yet.
Hey, it's Lady D.
Hello, and welcome to Her Voice podcast, the show that allows a space for women to gather, converse, and respectfully speak freely. A place where we can have some grown women talk with like-minded women to gain insight and perspective on everyday issues and topic of discussion. I'm your co-host, Crystal, and in this episode, we will discuss his voice, something a little different from our norm, but nonetheless, we're still going to have the same great discussion. Let's welcome our guest, Mr. Leroy Gibson Jr.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. It's good to be here. Good to be here, and definitely looking forward to chatting with you ladies. Again, I love the setup, man. It's a beautiful podcast. I love the energy. And shout out to my friend Ivy. I mean, we talked about stuff like this, so just to kind of see it in the manifest, man, it's a beautiful thing. So I'm proud of you, ladies. I'm proud of you guys, and looking forward just to having some grown up conversation. So I'm ready when you guys are. Let's do it. Let's go. What y'all got?
Now that sounds like a man that has been transformed in his life. So I just want to give y'all a definition of transformation. Transformation is a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance.
Thank you, Melonie, for that definition. And speaking of transformation in the context of supporting our men in healthy masculinity, it involves a fundamental shift, right? Even how masculinity is even perceived, expressed, and as women, we're the nurturers. So even nurtured. When transformation requires just changes on both individuals' stance as well as in our society, right? So I wanted to pose the question to you, Mr. Gibson. As women, how can we help that transformation from our young men to up to men?
All right, that's a good question. So, and again, like I said, full disclaimer. I'm gonna just talk from my personal experiences and some of the things that I've experienced, and I'm hoping that it can help somebody else. So when I think about young men, my mother played a very, very, very vital role in my life as a young man. Just very, very hands-on. So I remember being a young child, and y'all please keep out on the time. And I'll do the best I can to try to answer the question thoroughly, but within a time limit. So I think with my mom, even as a young boy, like I said, it was 3 of us. I'm the oldest out of 3 boys. And we grew up in the country, man, a lot of cousins and big family. So I remember this being, as a child, want to fight all the time and mad, just all this pent up energy. I remember my mom just saying one day, "You son, calm down. Just calm down. You're doing too much. Calm down. So I remember her just kind of talking to me, probably like maybe 9, 10, just saying those words, because I was very just angry, this mad. I want to fight all the time, So when she said those words, calm down, just pace yourself, calm down. So even to this day, if there's ever something that goes on in my life that bothers me, I always hear her voice saying, calm down, just relax, calm down. Coach, I would like to say it ain't that deep. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things she like to say, it's not that deep. But I remember my mom just using those things. So for example, I say that to say this: mothers, daughters, never stop talking. Even if we don't act on those words right then and there, we are listening. When it comes down to women, as far as helping us with the transformation as well, I would say just be patient with some of us. Be patient, and then help us to strategize as well. Again, I am a divorcee. I've been divorced for about 6 years now, and I remember when I was married, I remember my ex-wife giving me a lot of helpful tips here and there. But at the same time, it may not have manifested during the marriage. But at the same time, it ended up manifesting later in life. So I'm just be full of transparent with you guys. Even after the divorce, I remember just working on myself. I remember going to counseling, for example. Just not that anything was wrong, but just a simple check-in, like a mental health check-in. One of the things that I think some of us men, we fail at, which kind of hinders our transformation, is that we don't communicate, that we don't share really what's really going on. A good friend of mine always used to ask me the question, how do you feel? What's your feeling word? Shout out to Ivy on that one. What is your feeling word? A lot of times women, and I'll give you this is a good tip for you all, to ask men, how do you feel? How do you feel on this issue? A lot of times we stop talking, we just, it's shut down. And a lot of times I do feel as though some men shut down because when you go further back in our lives, there is some type of trauma that has happened that caused us to shut your mouth. Whenever a child starts to cry too much, first thing parents say, be quiet. Talk too much, be quiet. And a lot of times when we grow into men, we still be quiet. We don't talk, So a lot of times creating that safe place, and y'all forgive me if I'm kind of moving, I'm trying to bring it on in. But a lot of times I think that help create that safe zone, that safe place that we can be vulnerable, we can share, because a lot of times we can't transform by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We need someone to move our arm and stretch this out, and we need help transforming. So I hope that answers the question. I know there was a lot going on in there, but for the most part, again, women play a big role in our lives. So never stop talking.
That's good. No, and I think that answers the question very thoroughly. And that's a lot to unpack, but I was able to keep up. But what are y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts about what Mr. Gibson has offered to us and what he's brought to the floor?
I am always wanting to learn because I need to be found one day. So I got to learn as much as I can.
Yeah.
So when you were saying like the feeling words, ask how you are feeling. What happens when you hit that brick wall with the man? When you ask how you're feeling, but they just don't want to open up because of some trauma, some hurt that you may not know about. How do you kind of navigate around that to get to the feeling words? Or do you be like, hey, what's your feeling words?
That's good.
That's a good question. Well, there are some old Thundercats out here now. There's some Thundercats out here. They don't move for nobody. They don't, that's it, But I remember my former pastor, he would say things. He said, well, if a man's not moved by something, I mean, what's wrong with him, But at the same time, you do have men that they're just not moved. But that's where, again, prayer, I gotta say prayer, a lot of prayer and patience coming at the same time. But also, I will say this too, going to the root. Sometimes you have to go to the root, the source, you have to go to the source of the trauma and realize, well, what happened? I think for me, and I don't mind sharing this, love my daddy. I love my daddy. I name him after my daddy. I love him to death. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, no, I lied. I don't like him, but I love him. There you go. That's more better. Now I feel better. Thank you, Lord.
That's
all right.
Truth.
I'm good now. That's my truth. But nevertheless, though, when I think about my dad, this may help you guys as well too. He's set. In the country we have with the term where people are set. They are set in their ways. There's no change going on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Melonie. That's where you just love them. I accept you for who you are. I understand now. See, for me, what blessed me was I understood the story. You know what I'm saying? So when I understood the story, it gave me grace and mercy for him. And therefore, I was able to say, you know what? Whether you change or you don't, I still love you. And I'm going to, and I think the love of God is what helps me get through, whether he changes, he transforms or not. You know what I'm saying? And that gives me peace at night, knowing that if you don't ever change, I accept you for who you are. You see what I'm saying? And I've learned to build around and keep going. And like I said, true indeed, never change, but life, I change. That's it. And really, honestly, that was a part of my transformation. He didn't change, but it helped me to change. And I became a man because of his lack of change.
That's good.
I was going to ask you, was your father part of your life as well? Because I know you said your mother was one of the reasons why you kind of not calm down. That's the word to say.
My dad, let's see, how can I say it without being political, without lying at all? God, that's a good question, but you got me now. You got me. But he was not as much, he was not as much in my life. I think, I don't know, that was Ivy. Somebody asked me the question, well, who were the men in my life that helped reared me and raised me and all that jazz? So honestly, my uncles, my mother's brothers were very instrumental, and they had many personalities. Had a preacher, had business owners in the family, had hard workers, stern comedians. They were all had personalities. So my lack of father relationship led me to other men, mentors, coaches, all that jazz. You see what I'm saying? So when I did not receive the attention, and I hope this helped y'all, because I can feel it kind of helping somebody with that father-son relationship. I feel that now. What happens is that, especially when a young boy is looking for acceptance in the Black community, you see what I'm saying? You're going to go out and look. You see what I'm saying? You're going to try to find someone that speaks to you, or better yet, gives you some attention, pays you some attention. And luckily for me, again, my mother's brothers, my uncles, good men, they actually took a liking to me. We had some people in the church, they took a liking to me. I had my friends, we had our bond. And then going on to college, where I had advisors, joined the fraternity. You see what I'm saying? So I had several men that poured into me. It may not have been my father, and I'll be honest with you ladies too. I remember my mom, again, this year, and I hope this helped. My mom, I remember as a child, I was so hell bent on impressing my dad. I wanted my dad's attention, his love. Love me. Hello, love me. I'm just like you. I'm named after you. But I remember my mom got real angry one day, and she said, "Stop trying to impress your daddy." She was hurt when she said it, but she said, "Stop trying to impress him," and it really kind of made me just, dry the tears, get yourself together. And therefore, when I began to push that aside, I began to, again, other men came in, you see what I'm saying? And therefore, they really blessed me because I learned so much from them. So I hope that kind of, Ms. Miller, that was a lot now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hope that kind of makes sense though.
Yeah. Mr. Gibson, can I share, when we were in the workplace, I remember I used to say all the time, well, you don't know. You don't know. I was raised by a single parent. My daddy wasn't in my life. I would always clap back with that. And one day you shook me all the way up, and I ain't said it since to nobody. And you were like, "Ivy, just so you know, just because my dad was in the home doesn't mean he was present." Can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure. That thing hurt me, man. You know what I'm saying? We talk about it. I'll just be real with you guys. That thing bothered me because, to not have the relationship. And I used to question myself, like, what is wrong with me? And I remember I lived my whole life just kind of like feeling like, okay, what's going on? But later I learned that the problem was with him. And he never really dealt with whatever was going on. It's just kind of like weird. So like I said, I think Jamal Bryant said it like this in a post. He said, the saddest thing you could ever do is grieve the loss of a person who was still alive.
Wow.
Again, the saddest thing you could ever do is grieve the loss of a person who was still alive, you know. So I remember, and like I said, I know you and I talked about this. Yeah, you know, your dad may have not been in the house, but it just is worse. Which is worse, to have one in the house who's absent, or that you see every day, or to have one who don't live with you. You see what I'm saying? So either way the cut go, both of it is trauma. And what happened with us young men is that we all generation trauma, but we never really get to the root. That's why I'm telling you, when we get to the root of what's really going on, it gives you, instead that anger turns to grace and mercy. You understand, when you understand people, you able to keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Did that make any sense? You know?
It does. And before we get away from Melonie's point, Melonie, if you don't mind, because he spoke to the approaching the emotional conversation, which getting to the story, remember, getting to the root. Mm-hmm. But if I could extend Melonie's question and even change the role, Mr. Gibson, how do you approach that when you're dating? How do you approach that with someone that you're trying to get to know them? What's that, maybe that starter point? That's maybe a starter question to even get to the roots or to better understand their story when they're really just not opening up. How do you get there?
Well, when it comes to dating, that's a whole other ball game, right?
Okay.
So let me just be honest with you guys, and this applies to me and any man you date. One thing is this right here. Again, and you come to the old ways. I remember they used to say you have who learned the family. Just start right there. You know, you got to watch the family. Date the family. Where I came from, you know, they even had the old saying, you know, saying in the small country town, like I said, it's a town called Salters, King Street, Williamsburg County. You know, everybody knew everybody. You know what I'm saying, Krista? So what would happen is everybody knew each other's family, so they would say things like, "That's a bad set of people," or "Don't date those people," or, you know, like you know what I'm saying, like you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so you had to kind of watch, you know, and ladies, honestly, I know the world we live in online and all that jazz, but you really gotta check people's family out. Who you know, like, far as any kind of, I hate to say it, dysfunctions, trauma.
Yes. Oh, it's real.
That stuff is real, man, and you really can save yourself a lot of heartache. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can love somebody, you can love all you want, but at the same time, you can avoid a pitfall. Now, you better watch out now. And the thing is, and because even, let me bring it on home too, even far as doing my genealogy for my personal family, you start to see trends in the family. You see trends. You see my great grandparents had this issue. My uncles had this. You see what I'm saying? You see the trends. Yeah. So and truth be told, some things are just in your DNA. You know, and unless you got a God to break the curse. But at the same time, so this being real, when it comes down into the dating world, you talk about, well, he don't talk. His daddy don't talk. His great granddaddy don't talk. None of the men in the family talk. You know what I'm saying? None of the women in the family talk. You know what I'm saying? So when you know that information, you know what you're gonna do with the information that you already know. So again, I you know, y'all talk to me now. What y'all think about that? Now, when you when you know what you know, you know what I'm saying? Like his great granddaddy, you know, he had a bunch of girls and their girlfriends and everything. I mean, you see what I'm saying? If that makes sense now. Unless that man, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just agreeing with you.
Yeah. And I would say that makes perfect sense, because I was sitting here and as you were talking and I was listening, I remember you saying when Ivy asked you about the father being in the home but not present, and to hear somebody else say that and he be of the opposite sex. Because I've heard women say that all the time. My daddy was in the house, but my daddy wasn't there.
Yes.
Like you say, it was learned behavior. He was a Rolling Stone, or as everybody know, you know what the Rolling Stone do. They don't never they there, but they not there. So listening to that, and then when you were talking about learn the family. Now, what happens when you like the family but not the guy?
In the words of Lee Williams, Miss Melonie, you better run. You better run. But seriously, I mean, but that's a good point you make now. And like I said, I've been in situations like that. You love the family, you just don't like the person you're dealing with. So at the same time, but see, the thing is, remember this too. Now, you're not married to the family. You're not married to the family at the end of the day. You know, so we gotta. I hate to say it, and it's one thing I'm learning in my 40s. Take care of yourself. You want to live a long time, you want to live a stress-free life, take care of yourself. There's certain things, pitfalls you want to avoid. But yeah, seriously, all that lovey-dovey puppy love is good. But when the rubber hits the road, you want to make sure you're with someone that you can rock with. You know what I'm saying? And communication is so important these days, that knowing that someone not only gonna, and here's the thing where we get messed up in where I'm from, they can pay bills, they got a good job, they got a shelter over your head, got a good car, good job, all benefits, all that good stuff. But they got problems. They don't want to talk to you. You see what I'm saying? So what do you do in a situation like that? Do you forsake the inner for the outer? You see what I'm saying? Because I promise you, when that person loses those things, see, that's what we used to celebrate back where I'm from. Things. He got a good job. I'm telling you, good job, good benefit, good retirement, things. But when you lose those things, what do you have? You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times things happen. God allows things to happen in your life to really see what you really made of. And that's where you want to make sure you got someone that thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Some things are designed to bring you close together. And then you realize when you are stripped of everything and it's just, you realize you ain't got, you know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure you got somebody you're rocking with now. Somebody with some strength.
and that is so true, Leroy. I do have a question for you. So like you said, this is a microwave generation. Everything is online. And you're right to some degree, as far as you have to see what the family looks like, at least what the home look like, what their makeup is, not necessarily just the genetic makeup, but their background, how they were brought up, what they experienced, those type of things. And unfortunately, in our Black community, we are seeing less fathers being present in these young boys' lives. So a lot of times they are dysfunctional. They don't know how to express emotions, or like you said, that trauma is there. And in our Black community, again, we don't like to do what? Therapy. We don't want to pull the Band-Aid off. We don't want to get treatment. We don't want to heal. So we're stuck somewhere. But as women, what can we do? How can we show up in little boys' lives, whether it's our nephews, our cousins, our stepsons, our friend's child, our godsons? What can we do for them as children, even when the male figure is not necessarily present in their life, or if they are present but absent as far as the interactions with them? Yeah. What can we do to help them during these transitions? What can we do to teach them that they are loved, that they have someone there, that just because they don't get that approval from their father, that they still can be the male that they want to be when they get older? They don't have to be that image that they see every day. Because sometimes I think we look at just what's in our face because that's all we know. But as you get older and you start to live and you explore, you see more things. So that one little goal that you thought that you wanted to be now makes you something different. But what can we do to help them understand that you are loved? You have everything that you need, and to help them just progress and get through those phases as they transform throughout their lives. What can we do?
That's good.
Yeah, that was a good question. I think I'm gonna touch my heart just now. I'd be maybe my eyes watered up a little bit, because I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, because really what it is, Kristen, I'll be honest with you, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. You know, what you just said spoke to the child in me, the little boy in me, because I remember what that was like, you know what I'm saying, not having the approval or the attention of my father due to his whatever got going on. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my going back to my mom, played a maid. She was big enough. She had to do dual duties. You know what I'm saying? She had to play both mom and dad. Taught me how to drive, personality, social skills. You see what I'm saying? All that stuff came from my mom. Even half the man you see now is my mom. The other half, I had to get pieces and pieces from a long life. But the best advice I can share with to answer your question as a mother or these other young boys and stuff, that man, get them into some programs, man. Get them into mentorship programs. Get them active. Boys and girls clubs and things like that. There are certain things out there for young boys to have in. But for the most part, again, I'm thank God, because we had our uncles. I mean, at the end of the day, we had our uncles. We had our uncles, and we had our bigger cousins. So, the community, I just said it takes a village. The community really played a role. And again, I got a foundation from my mom, but at the same time, other men, as I went on throughout my life, they poured in. You see what I'm saying? Church poured in. Some of those guys poured in. So, cool community wise. But again, as women, you guys have the power to select, to narrate who's going to come into our life, who's going to speak into our life, speak into these young guys' lives and stuff, So, but it definitely that makes a great difference to have a good mentor early. I think one of the things that I wish I had, thinking about, and I think I was thinking about this recently, really, I just wish I had throughout my life someone just to put their arm around me and say, I'm gonna take you mine. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work with you. I'm gonna guide you on throughout your life. I had women did that. A lot of women did that, but and like I said, that's what I'm saying. We can never underestimate the power of a good woman, not just any woman, but a good woman to really. I'm gonna take you in. My first job came from matter of fact, I'll give her a shout out, Miss Melonie Gamble, from Florence, South Carolina. She actually was like, "Hey, you ain't got no skills, you ain't got this, but I'm gonna take a chance on you." You see what I'm saying? So more women are apt to take chances on us Black men. You see what I'm saying? Versus where some Black men don't really take care of the younger. You see what I'm saying? Wow. So I'm just telling you guys, a lot of times, and I feel this too, that y'all are placed in positions to give us a chance. You see what I'm saying? But it's up to you all to decide whether you're going to take the risk, you know what I'm saying, based on whatever the case may be. And you can't always bet on potential. Don't get me wrong. I've been there too, where, I've seen that happen too. But for the most part, though, it's up to you all to decide. Y'all have the power, the gateway, the gateway to your hearts, the gateway to opportunity, whether or not I'm going to give them a chance. Luckily, I'll give a shout out to Ms. Gamma again. She took a chance on me, and that propelled me to other doors and etc. But never stop talking. Love on us. Love on them young boys. And again, y'all can do all y'all can do. But we got to see another man so we can emulate what we see at the end of the day. I mean, seriously.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and then a part of you saying that, so the second part to that question, because you've kind of already went there, but I want you to actually call it out. Sometimes you just got to call it out for what it is, right? So as women, yes, we can love on our males, our young boys, grown men, whatever, but I also feel that we as women also cross that line and we enable them a lot. When does the support become enablement? How can we start recognizing that? Because we want to nurture, we want them to grow, but then sometimes we want it so much for them. And I'm glad you said the word potential, because we see that potential. And what we do, we begin to enable them because we see that potential, but they don't see the potential. So what does enablement look like? And when should we start realizing, or how can we realize that we are enabling them rather than supporting them?
All right now.
That was good there. That was good. That was a good one there. Yes. Okay. So going back to my mom again, her thing was, she was real big on, I don't want y'all to be dependent. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we get to a point when that man starts to depend on you for everything, he can't think for himself. I think one of the craziest thing you could ever do for a man is cause him not to think. He can't think. He can't think on the fly. He can't figure out problems and stuff. And as good as my mom was to us, she did enable us as well. Let me say that too now, to the point where we would call mom. Anything happen, call mom. You know what I'm saying? Versus we be able to figure the thing out. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out on your own. So I think when we get to the point in our lives where women, y'all see he can't function without you. You know what I'm saying? He can't lead. You know what I'm saying? He can't think. He can't problem solve.
Wow.
that's when you know you kind of got a problem now. You know, you done enable them too much. So I think the greatest thing when it gets to that point, you want to, you want to, because I've been there. I've been that man. I've been that man where I was very dependent upon my ex-wife. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't figure it out for myself. But then later on in life, I had to learn these things. So again, you know, from my mom to ex-wife, you know, kind of had me. I was dependent. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, nothing coming in. I'm depending on them versus me being the man. You go out there and hunt for something and bring us back something to eat. So again, but again, the world we live in today, some women they got us trained like that they'll take care of everything. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, we don't have to do it. They already done do it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, sometimes, and I feel it that the women have to decrease for the man to increase. You know what I'm saying? You know, seriously. You know, sometimes y'all got to take the lesson. I mean, you know what? Even though y'all can do it, I'm not gonna do it to see what this joker gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see if he's gonna step up or not, and that's a test right there to say whether I'm gonna keep him or not. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, but seriously though, decrease sometimes so that they can increase. That's Bible too. You know, that's John the Baptist.
Bible now.
That's Bible. That's Bible now.
I felt it.
Saying.
That's real good right there, Leroy. Thank you.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for covering that. That was really good.
That's good.
You know, a common theme that I'm hearing in the conversation is the importance of communication and community. So, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about it being better to live in a desert than for a man to live with a quarrelsome woman. And in relationships, you know, our love shows up different as women. We're caring. We ask questions. We want to understand, you know, and then whenever you meet that brick wall, sometimes it leaves us in a position where we might start guessing. Okay, well, I'm going to do this to see, you know, that might work. But so at what point does our care becomes quarrelsome in his mind? Because we're asking the questions and he really just want to be left alone, but we trying to understand. So at what point do we need to just say, okay, well, back off and give him some space? And I guess the second question to that is, at what point do you kind of say, okay, well, maybe this is not working. We need to take a break and maybe we need to work on ourselves individually and then come back together and see if we can make it work as a unit.
Lady D, that's loaded, man. That's loaded.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Yes, that is true. That you know, I've seen that too, where some women that you can't do that with them. You know, you can't satisfy them. You know what I'm saying? You can't satisfy them, and they do become nagging. You know what I'm saying? They become worrisome. You know, but again, as you said, communication is so impactful. You know, I think one of the things that I know has worked for me is having a family time or having the time where we sit and meet and discuss certain personal agendas or as well as family agendas. You know what I'm saying? We talk about things. So therefore, when you have those sit downs and conversations, you hope to cover everything. But I think it's so important to acknowledge what that woman is saying. Like, you want to make sure you're heard. I know that's very important. That's why I remember in my dating experiences, I like to say, I acknowledge what you said. I heard what you said. And then, you want to have that active listening. I think when when it gets to the point where it's time to go is when you're not being heard. I think on both sides. I think whenever that man, he feels as though he's not understood or he's misunderstood or he's not heard, and the woman as well, she just, she can't get to him. And when you get to that point where you're hitting that brick wall, in other words, I like to say there's no reasoning. Even the Lord said, hey, come now, let us reason together. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm getting sick of you, you're getting sick of me, but let's reason together, But when I know for me personally, when it's time to go, when you cannot reason together, you can't figure it out together. You see what I'm saying? To me, that's been my personal take on that part. But for the most part, though, I know for me personally, in my experiences, I like to try to satisfy who I'm with. You see what I'm saying? And to make sure we have less quarrels. You see what I'm saying? But again, even as a man, when you cannot satisfy that woman, that for me, because most men want to be a fixer. A good man want to address it and fix the problem. But when you can't fix it, then to me, that's how you know. And as a woman, when you're not heard, you know what I'm saying, you can't get to him, you can't get that change. And that's how you know as well, you know what, I'm hurting myself. I'm causing trauma to myself.
Wow.
Then trying to fix this situation. Just to be honest with you guys. And that's my take on that.
Deep. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah. D, that was one of them loaded questions. That was a good question.
That's how she do, man. That's how she come in.
I wasn't ready for that because I was about to ask something similar, but not quite that loaded. She was guns loaded on that. But I'm with D on the sense that when you said we got to be communication, and we sometimes have to decrease. Do you mean like when you say decrease in a theory type of way or in an actual literal type of way? Because I can be like, okay, I'm a decrease. Okay, we need to make a decision on this bill, and I can decrease from it. Theory, like, cause I'm a control freak. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. He ain't through with me, and I ain't through with myself, because I am definitely a control freak. So if you're someone that thrives on control, but you're dating someone that you don't want to enable, how do you navigate that in the sense of decreasing yourself so you can push them a little forward? And I don't mean to make potential, because I'll be honest, Leroy, don't take this the wrong way. I ain't dating no more men with potential. I'm done with potential. With me. And that's just from my personal experience.
Nah, that makes sense.
How do we navigate that part? Decrease so that we are so that we are pushing forward, but we're not decreasing so much where we've lost ourselves.
Right, yeah, right, and again, you answered your question. You got a lot of points there in the question, a lot of nuggets in the question. Again, you don't want to lose yourself in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem when you start to lose yourself to the point where you don't know yourself. I remember when I got divorced, I had to go find myself. You know, so again, it's very important again to make sure you don't lose yourself. You said that you like control. You have to give him control. Both of y'all can't be in control of the relationship now. You know, so therefore you would have to pull back on your control to allow him to control, or unless y'all have it where he's okay with, you know, y'all okay with that formula, because everything works different for people, you know. But for the most part, what I meant by that is definitely, so in a case like mine, for example, I needed to be the one to think. I needed to be the leader, you know what I'm saying? For example, and I don't mind just being transparent, you guys, I was divorced for the lack of leadership, you know, the lack of resources, the lack of finances, you see what I'm saying? I lacked things, you know. So, but at the same time, she was okay with those things. So in order for me to fix those things, she had to step back and I had to step up. You see what I'm saying? We had to change positions. But as long as she stayed in her role, I was comfortable. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, there was no need to change because it worked. But you know, little did I know that she had an issue with that. So that's what I'm saying, you know, like how you just said, you know, you're a control freak. Nothing, I mean, I get it, nothing wrong with that, but what room do you have for the man in your life? And more importantly, what role do you want him to play in your life? You know, that is so important. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you guys, ladies, it is so important to write the vision. Write down what you want that Joker to look like, his characteristics, emotional. You seriously. So therefore, you will know it'll save you time, because you already got a visual in mind. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. And that makes a difference. I mean, yes, I mean, y'all talking to someone, okay, yeah, he looks good, intelligent, but guess what? I wasn't always this man you talk to on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through a transformation. I done had some ignorance going on in my life. Ignorant. I mean, all kind of stuff, but nevertheless, the transformation. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, so everything, it was for the good. It made me what I am now. So you know what I'm saying? Have potential in everything. But at the same time, transformation, real change, all that jazz makes a difference, good and bad.
Thank you so much for all of that, Mr. Gibson. I really have heard some things, seen some things, have reevaluated some things just on this call. When you just spoke about change, so one Bible verse that I keep in my heart of hearts is 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I speak as a child, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, and I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So we are thinking about leading our boys, our little shepherd boys into being kings, right? So how, as women, do we create that safe space that we've been talking about, that communication, that open line of communication? How do we foster that into our young men, to so that it will grow with them, moving into some type of like an emotional intelligence, where it creates empathy, where it creates a space where they are able to feel their feelings, express their emotions, and see it as a strength and not a weakness. We've all heard of, boys don't cry, and feelings are for females. But how as women can we foster that transformation from instilling the good stuff, the healthy masculinity into our boys, and letting it grow and watching it grow into with them into manhood?
That's a good question as well too. The first thing came to my mind was that scripture where it says, train up a child in the way he should go. Remember that one? And when he's older, even if he does depart from it, he will come back to it. That's pretty much where I've been. I think the thing is, it's so important, and I apologize if I did not fail to mention this. I thank God, for definitely my mom introducing me how to pray, all that good stuff at a young age, so definitely having God in your life early, having some Bible in you early. I mean, hello, somebody, you got to have that thing in you early, seriously. From elementary to junior high, I needed some God. I mean, I had that in me, especially from going to high school, small high school to college, had some God in me. You see what I'm saying? So again, to answer your question, you want to have that, know how to pray. You know what I'm saying? Remember, we had testing going on when we was in elementary school. Lord, help me with this test. You know what I'm saying? But having some God in you. Y'all mentioned David as a shepherd and everything as well too. I mean, he had God in him early. He had that thing in him early. So that's why I definitely recommend. We cannot forget that part, because I think for me, even young man, all that jazz, I was heaven bound but no earthly good. You know what I'm saying? Heaven bound. I had a lot of God in me, but didn't have the skills and the tools to make it here on earth. Good credit and how to spend your money, how to save money. Certain skills you want to have. Young boys need to have certain skills. You know what I'm saying? How to change a tire, young man. How to tie a tie. I'm just saying basic little how to iron your clothes. So as women, those are certain skills, but from God in your life to those basic skills that you would have so you could become a holistic good man for a good woman one day. You know what I'm saying? Hey, sometimes, some mothers and girlfriends, whatever, man, set some of us men up to be a sorry husband for somebody one day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, you think about that now. Think about it. You really think about that. There are some mothers that got them boys so sorry, and then it's gonna be a sorry something for somebody one day. You know what I'm saying? So again, it is so important, y'all, as we are educated now, that we know it's by this age you should know certain skills. I know certain young men now, they don't have a check account, don't carry a wallet, they ain't got no license. You see what I'm saying? But they'll get somebody pregnant, they'll get married. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, again, y'all women as gatekeepers as well, again, tender voices, nurturing, but again, giving them the certain skills that they need by this age and this time. But definitely, we're gonna always start with God first, and go from there, because God will soften your heart. You know what I'm saying? I think somebody asked the question about he's so hard and stuff. God will soften your heart. That should be a recommendation from the start right there. Are you saved? Do you get some God in your life? Do you know how to pray over this family? You know what I'm saying? Come on,
that's
now.
Right. Let's start there.
Come on. Let's start right there. And I apologize to be reading this through. I apologize. Forgive me, Lord. Let's start right there, because you gotta have some God in your life. I'm just saying from the start, because when things pop off, you know what I'm saying, you want to have a man that can pray, that can cover the family. He can be a king all he wants, but he better be a priest also. You know what I'm saying? When things get rough as well too now. That's just me now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be quiet. Y'all go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. No, that's good. We need to hear it. Listen, we need to hear it. That's good stuff. Yeah, listen. As we begin to bring this to a close, this has been very, very informative, very healthy dialogue. We could go on and on. There's so much we want to know from you, Mr. Gibson, right? There's so much we want to know. This has really been an amazing dialogue for us as we have mixed it up for sure. So any final thoughts, ladies? Any final thoughts from you all? And then we'll certainly have Mr. Gibson to offer his final advice to us as we are seeking to support the men in our community. But ladies, from the floor.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for coming and for all the great information, the transparency, the everything, because it's needed. We want to help. We want to do certain things. We want to be better. And a part of us being better, we want those around us to be better. Our children, like I said, our family, everyone, you want them to be better. As you get better, you should want people around you to be better. And with that being said, I know we can't do everything with the men. So this is why I feel like it should be our prime focus, especially with the young boys. We can lend help to men, but on some level as an adult, they have to reach for that help themselves. So I'm asking you, what are some programs or mentorship programs that you may recommend that we can, share or take our young males to, for them to have some guidance and male mentorship as women? Like you said, we can't do it all. We're just the gatekeepers. So we need those positive males in their lives as well. What are some things and programs that you would recommend?
Well, sure. Well, one of the things I would say, you want to start with your community. You know what I'm saying? You want to start with family. I would start with family. Definitely, I know man to man. I think man to man is more for the men, but I would say you can start with the Boys and Girls Club. Your local Boys and Girls Club. I think some of the fraternities, they have certain programs as well that are designed for young African American males and stuff. So you can start right there. And also there are some after school programs, but you would have to just do a search. As far as I know, Chris, I know me personally, I've mentored here and there. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like just check in with these guys. But even when it comes down to mentorship, man, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. A lot of times these young guys, they got to be ready for that as well, and the question was asked to what age. I always like to say the age of, I think for us it was always 12, 13 was always the time that you want to try to introduce men to these young guys. You know what I'm saying? So I would say 12 to 13 for the most part, but I would start locally, your church, Boys and Girls Club. You know what I'm saying? I think men to men may have some of your fraternities, your Divine Now fraternities may have certain programs as well. And I would just start right there, to be honest with you, though.
Okay, thank you.
Bridging the gap between our men and our women so that we can keep our families together. So I definitely thank you. I appreciate you. I honor you for being with us this evening, and hopefully we can have this conversation again and carry on and actually take some action on what we've said here this evening.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to say thank you as well. I've had some transformation on this podcast tonight. So I just like to say thank you.
You're so welcome, man. You're so welcome.
And same here. This conversation has indeed been transformative, and I thank you for those programs that you suggested, and definitely will be looking into them. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. So welcome.
So to our guest, Mr. Leroy D. Gibson Jr., what would you ultimately like for us to take away from this dialogue?
Oh, man. It's so much, y'all. First of all, I am honored and thank you guys so much, man. And like I said, too, just know that all men, all of us, even you all, we all on a journey. You know what I'm saying? None of us are made, we haven't reached our final destination yet, because again, I don't mind telling you guys, like I said earlier, man, I've been through some things myself, so definitely not perfect. But I want to share this with you guys. I think someone mentioned about the children versus the men. This is Frederick Douglass, by the way. And he said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Again, this is Frederick Douglass said, and this is Frederick Douglass now, the Frederick Douglass. It is easier. You can Google it. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. That's heavy. That's some real stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? Because the children, indeed are the future. The children have a chance. And even to share personally, I remember my mom made a point where she was like, I can't do that with your dad. But she said, y'all children got a chance. Let me work on the children. I mean, I remember the day her focus changed again from my dad to the children. So again, y'all are right on it when y'all say, okay, let's get these children straight. Also, I want to say too, and I'm wrapping up. We all got some trauma going on. We've all had some, we all have something that we're dealing with. But the day, again, when you know it's time, is when you can't communicate. The communication is the lifeline. And not only communicate, but also the reasoning, which is going to also require some type of change in behavior. You see what I'm saying? So you want to keep those things in mind. And this is my personal top 3 when I think about, as far as relationships, the things that I need. And I think some men can agree to, but this is my personal top 3. And mine has always been to be appreciated. Words of affirmation, to be appreciate the sacrifice, what I've done. To understand me. I don't, sometimes I think for most men, I don't need you to feel sorry for me, but sometimes you just want to be understood. I just want you to understand where I came from. You know what I'm saying? I came from something. So understand me. Not misunderstood, because a lot of times some of us good men, we are misunderstood. But to understand me. And then the last thing is to love me. You know what I'm saying? That love that surpasses all understanding. And even the Lord said, you know what I'm saying, it's the love pretty much, you know what I'm saying, that there's nothing you could do that will separate the love. So I think when you think about that unconditional love that comes in, you know what I'm saying, love like God, that part. But at the same time too, love doesn't hurt at the same time now. So again, appreciate, understand, and love. Those 3 things that I would leave with you all. And thank you guys so much again. The honor is mine. It's an honor. Anytime you guys need me for anything, just feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to share the experiences that I've shared, and hopefully it can be a blessing to somebody else.
Listen, don't put that out there now. Don't put the open invite. They might be calling for you again. Yes. And
cancel that invite.
A special shout out to our dear friend Gibson Crystal. It was definitely her idea to bring forth, as you are our first male guest, as a matter of fact. And so we really thank you for being our trailblazer in this space. And thank you for maintaining a safe space for good conversation. Thank you for your transparency and sharing your own very personal experiences. That's how we learn, right? As we don't go through just for ourselves, we go through so that we can help others to navigate the complexities of life, right? We really, really appreciate you and all that you've done. Listen, before we close this thing out, we gotta let you give your plugs, if you will. You are definitely an entrepreneur. So this is a platform that we share with others. We share with other business owners and entrepreneurs. So, just give us your information. How can you be located? Where can you be found? When you do slow down, what is your information for us? And please share it this time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for that plug. I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking about the mission at hand. So I am a business owner. I am the founder, owner of Study Hall at 7 Art Media. Pretty much live streaming. We do professional photography, weddings, specialties are events. I even do funerals as well, which is one of my top sellers is funerals, documentaries, interviews, etc. But definitely that's one of the things that I do. I do travel as well, and I can be reached at Study Hall 7 AM at gmail.com. Again, that's Study Hall 7, the number 7 AM at gmail.com, or you can call me at 843-731-1985. Again, that's 843-731-1985. Thank you so much for the plug, Ivy.
Absolutely. And your social media platforms is YouTube, Instagram. Are there any other?
And Facebook. Yes, I have those. Yes. So we have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to think, is Vimeo as well. I think I said it right, Vimeo. So but everything is Study Hall 7 AM. Again, Study Hall 7 AM, and you'll see the orange logo.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for your time. We know that it's very valuable and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Listen, we are always looking for purpose partners. So we welcome you to explore and learn more about the Inspire Her community by visiting www.inspirehernetwork.org. I will also have the link below in the description. Feel free to follow us also on Instagram. We thank you so much for being with us as we close out season 2 of Her Voice podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the other side. As always, thank you for being here. And as you go forth, remember to support the men in your village and go forth and be bold, be courageous, and as always, be inspired.